ماذا يحدث عندما يقرر زوجان غير مسلمين الغوص في أسرار مهتدية تركت كل شيء لتعانق الإسلام؟ اليوم في قناة فيرا لسنا أمام قصة هداية عادية، بل نحن أمام تجربة اكتشاف يخوضها معنا هان وكيلي. انضموا إلينا وهما يتابعان رحلة أديسون، الفتاة التي واجهت شكوكاتها الجريئة لتكتشف أن الإسلام يسبق العالم في إنصاف المرأة واحترام الروح.
This was just like, I don't know, like someone's soul is just like trapped like halfway here, halfway not there. Like it just, and they can haunt you and stuff. Like it just seemed a little off to me.
Han Meditations. Hello guys, I am Han. This is Kelly.
Hi everyone.
We are Han Meditations. We're back with another interesting video. So find somewhere comfortable to sit and watch. You're not going to want to miss this one. And let's get right into it together.
Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kastión and I am a Muslim revert. So I've been a Muslim now for about 2.5 years, alhamdulillah. I reverted in November 2018, around that time. So it's been about 2.5 years. Alhamdulillah, these years have been like honestly the best years of my life. I've completely transformed into the best version of myself. My life has completely transformed in the best way. And it's just been an amazing experience for me. I actually learned about Islam through the person who is now my husband. So we met in New York City. We were having a shared apartment. He moved down the hall. Before that, I literally did not know any Muslims at all. I obviously have heard of the religion Islam, but I had never, ever interacted with a Muslim before. Honestly, maybe in school, once or twice. My school wasn't very diverse growing up. But yeah, I never knew Muslims. I never knew about Islam. I knew nothing. So he was the first Muslim that I met. Obviously, we were living together, so we saw each other all the time. And slowly but surely, we became friends. So we would hang out. He was living with his friends as well. So we would all hang out, and we became really close. And slowly but surely, I started to learn about Islam through him. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And at the time, I was a very spiritual person. I did not follow any religion. I never followed any religion growing up. Some of my family were Catholics, but we weren't super religious. I never connected with Catholicism. I never considered myself a Catholic, but I was very spiritual. I had studied Buddhism. I was very into spirituality, but I didn't connect with any religion that I had found so far. So I always believed in God, but I didn't really have any way that I was practicing any belief. You know, we would spend time together, we were friends, and I would see him do things like make namaz, make salah, prayer. And I would always be really interested. Like, oh, what are you doing? What does this mean? It kind of reminded me of a form of yoga or meditation. At the time, I was really into yoga. So I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I wanted to know what it was. So he explained it to me, and I was like, wow, this is really great. This is nice, you know. And I loved how he did it 5 times a day. This was always nice. He took time out of his day, multiple times a day, to connect with God. So this really, I liked this already from the start. So then the next thing that I was exposed to in Islam was Ramadan. Sorry, it's so loud here. I'm in India, and it's monsoon season, so it's storming outside, but in general, India is so loud. There's literally nowhere in the house that I can find that is quiet. So I'm sorry if the background noise is too much. But what was I saying? Yes, so Ramadan. Obviously, he was fasting for Ramadan. And we were friends, and I mean, we were really good friends. Like, we were living in the same exact place, you know? So obviously, we were around each other all the time. And when he would be fasting, first of all, I asked him, what is Ramadan? What are you doing? And he told me all about Ramadan, how they fast to practice self-control, spiritual discipline, these kinds of things, having compassion and empathy for the poor, learning, not focusing on physical things, but focusing more on spirituality for this month. So I was like, wow, this is incredible. This practice is great. Even non-Muslims should do this, you know, this is really good. So, and just being around him in general, when he was fasting and I wasn't, I'm not going to eat or drink around someone who's fasting. So I was like, okay, you know what? This sounds really great. Fasting, I know a lot of people, even non-Muslims, they do fasting. It's a great way to practice self-discipline, all these things. So I was like, okay, I want to do it. I want to do Ramadan with you. I didn't do it perfectly. Obviously, I wasn't fully committed to the fasting. I wasn't doing it for religious purposes. I just wanted to try it. So I tried my best, and I did a pretty good job. I did it, honestly, most days. It was an incredible experience. It was very difficult, but it was rewarding, and it was nice. It was just the celebration of Ramadan, all these Muslims together. It was an incredible experience. So then I was like, wow, okay, I really liked it. And then after that, slowly but surely, I just became more and more curious about Islam. But actually what happened was I was very intrigued by Islam. But then when I started learning more about Islam and kind of doing my research, I found a lot of things on the internet, a lot of things that were just like, that I did not like at all. There was a lot of misconception that I found on the internet. I was like, oh, wow, no, I do not like Islam. I don't want to follow Islam. I don't like it at all. Then I researched more because my husband, who was still my friend at the time, I would confront him about these things. I'm like, what is this? Like, I would find something on the internet that was wrong, either misogynistic or like male dominating, something like that. And he's like, this is not Islam. This is culture. This is not the real Islam. People do this culturally. So then I was like, okay. So he would give me good sources and help me kind of learn about his Islam. He would have such a friendly approach to it that it really, his approach was so nice and not forceful and not trying to impose his beliefs on me that I was willing and wanting to learn more about it. I learned more, and then I started to realize how a lot of the things that I had found were an intertwinement of culture and religion and not the religion itself. So basically, I would find things online and I would question it in a way that was doubtful, okay? Like I would be doubtful of something and I would question it. And for every single thing that I doubted or that didn't make sense to me, I would find an answer for every single thing that was logical, that had aligned with my previous beliefs, that was, like, everything I found was such a logical way of life. Everything. I remember, like, I would find something and then I'd learn the reason for it and I'm like, oh my God, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Why doesn't everyone do this? You know? Everything that I found was either peaceful, it was so empowering for women. Like, things that I think that we haven't even grasped in the West yet. I'm so sorry for all the thunder. It's so loud outside. It's like downpouring. It's a monsoon season. It's absolutely crazy here. But yeah, there's so many things in Islam that we haven't grasped in the West. I feel like people always put the West as this like exemplar of what people should follow in other countries. But Islam is so ahead of the West in many ways. There's so many things in Islam that people are now just starting to follow. So all of these reasons, I was just like, wow. There's a really famous saying that I like. It goes something like, doubt is the beginning, not the end of wisdom. And for me, this was the case with Islam. So through my doubt, I had initiated this want to and this desire to research Islam. I had really doubted it. And I thought for sure, like, I would find things and I would be like, no, I don't like this at all. And through that, I was able to understand and really fall in love with Islam, honestly. It's a way of life. It's a beautiful way of life. It has guidelines for every single thing in life. So it's just, I really love the structure of it. Before, I was very spiritual, as I said before, but I had no structure or way to follow or kind of show my worship to God or connect with my spirituality. I had no way to practice this in my everyday life. And Islam gave me the guidelines and the ways to do so, that in every single thing that I do, eating, sleeping, talking, the way I drive, every single thing, I can connect with my spirituality and demonstrate my faith through those actions. So, alhamdulillah, I converted. I finally took the decision. I was like full on into it. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to convert. Oh, I also, before that, I started eating halal before I converted. I took baby steps into it, baby steps. I had been vegetarian on and off for the years before. I really, really loved meat, but I struggled being vegetarian. But there's something about the like mass production and the treatment of animals that it never resonated well with me. It never sat well with me. So when I learned about halal and how it's a conscious way of eating, you're aware of what you're putting into your body. You're aware of where your meat comes from. In order for it to be halal, it has to be treated humanely. There's a lot kind of like free range, like organic. There's a whole list of standards in order for it to be halal. And all of these things, I was like, wow, this is a very conscious and a really good way of eating. I really liked the thought that I had to put it. And having dietary restrictions is, I think it's a good thing. I think it's good to not just consume whatever comes in front of you. You know, to think about what you're eating, where it came from, all these things. So yeah, so I converted to Islam. Finally, I made the decision. I was full on into it. I was fully confident in what I was deciding in my decision.
Whoa. Okay.
That was nice.
Kelly, what did you think about that?
Yeah, you know, she made a lot of points that really resonate with me as well. And it's just interesting how whenever a lot of these revert videos we watch, they will come into the person's life in such really interesting ways where it's just like, it really just feels like that's exactly how their life was meant to go. That was the plan from the start, you know, from Allah, that they would not be in Islam, and then it would get introduced in this really interesting, beautiful way. I mean, this man who she never even spoke to a Muslim person before, you know, and then this one person ended up being her husband. I mean, how incredible is that? But yeah, so, you know, she started finding it out little by little from him. And like she said, like, she would look into things, and like the answers for things, it was logical and aligned with like her previous beliefs for everything. And I really find that too. Like, one example that comes up for me is like finding out about jinn, right? Because, you know, you always hear about like ghosts and stuff like that. And I always felt like the concept of ghosts, I always felt like I didn't really believe in. Like, I did believe there was something, but ghosts was just like, I don't know, like someone's soul is just like trapped like halfway here, halfway not there. Like, it just, and they can haunt you and stuff. Like, it just seemed a little off to me. And then when it said the concept of jinn, I was like, wow, like, I know when something just like makes sense to me and when I hear it, you know? And, you know, a lot of that was coming up for her. And then, like she said as well, like, the structure is really good. And you do need structure in spiritual life, because think about even everything Allah makes, right? Like, you can find patterns of things, you know, there's mathematical equations to like figure everything out with the way everything in the universe is designed, you know, like the concept of gravity and everything does have a structure to it. Everything is created with atoms. Like, everything has a structure. You can't just like exist without structure, right? So that has to be in our everyday lives too, within our own connection with Allah and our greater souls. So yeah, that was a really nice story. I really liked everything she said.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting too, and I really liked how she said he wasn't imposing. I mean, whoever her husband is, he sounds like a true Muslim, a true good person as well. And it just, you know, it's interesting because even talking about halal food, you know, we had a discussion today about eating health conscious food and animals that are just manufactured and slaughtered and mistreated, and who wants to eat kind of meat that's just been tortured and, you know, destroyed and, you know, broken down, and, you know, just it's almost like you're consuming that fear, that, you know, hatred, that disgustingness whenever you're eating these tortured animals. You know, it might taste good to your body, but to your soul, you know, it's not. So, you know, it really is important to get halal food whenever you can. And, you know, I really love hearing these kind of stories, guys. We're going to do more content like this. So let us know what you guys think, guys. Thank you guys for being here. We love you guys so much. And we'll see you in the next video.
شاركونا. هل شعرتم يوما أن هناك نظاما خفيا في هذا الكون يرشدكم نحو الحقيقة؟ وما هو الموقف الذي جعلكم تشعرون بجمال الإسلام لأول مرة؟